Okay, so recently I expertise Arthur with the Commander Swap event. And it turns out that he is even more broken than he currently is because so far he's been amazing. We are not in KVK, I have not tried him in the open field. I used him in Canyon. And let me tell you this, I started to win against some players for the very first time. Back in the day, I would always lose, but now I started to win just because of Arthur, and this just shows how good he is, and consistently, by far the highest damage dealer every single time I check the Canyon results. Now, let me explain you why I'm saying that he is more broken than I thought he was, but for the majority of the players, this is a long-term project, so he cannot be that broken for you or for me, but he will be eventually, and how we can start preparing for it, this is important because, as I always say, Rise of Kingdoms is not a sprint, it's a marathon, so you should always plan ahead 1 month, 3 months, maybe even 1 year. And in this case, it is a very long-term project, but I wanted to share this with you because that is exactly what I'm going to do with my Arthur in future. So as I said, he's been really good. I've been using him with Hokyu Bing, I've been using him with Nevsky, but every single time I've been using him as a secondary. However, the talents of Arthur, he is a combo damage commander, and if you use him as the primary, he only deals combo damage, he doesn't deal any skill damage. And so far, in those testing videos, Arthur doesn't really perform that well as primary. And one of the main reasons is, I would say, the lack of quality equipment and armaments. Because when you have those things, the performance, the return of Arthur Pendragons as a primary is going to increase dramatically. One of the things, let's start with the armaments. When they first released the information about Delta Formation, I was like, okay, this has, decent inscriptions, especially this one. I think Steel Skin was really good, just because whenever your troop launches a combo attack, it takes 1.5% less damage for the next 10 seconds, and this can stack up to 5 times. And combo attacks, you can deal bunch of extra combo attacks with the skills, with the talent, so this will reduce the damage pretty dramatically. However, in one of the latest videos from Chesco Gaming, he specifically says that he asked this to VIP support, and this is how they reply. It's about the butterfly inscription. Now, this gives 3.5% boost to combo attack damage, which is great. But the main thing is the second portion. Combo attacks launched by their troop are 20% more likely to trigger effects triggered by launching a basic attack. When I first saw this, I thought, okay, let's say something has a 10% chance to trigger, and it's going to be 20% more likely if you have this specific inscription, which makes it 12%, right? Because it's a 20% of the 10%, that's how I thought, and now instead of 10% triggering chance, it is 12%. But it turns out that it just adds that 20% on top of the 10%. So your chances to trigger things that can be triggered with basic attack, again, let's say 10%, it just becomes 30%, which is insane. This is going to be game breaking, I'm telling you. Look at the expertise. Whenever the troop launches a basic attack, it has a 50% chance to launch one extra combo attack. And if we take a look at talents, for example, this one, whenever the commander's troop launches a combo or range combo, it has a 10% chance to launch an extra combo attack. So there are a ton of things that will make you launch or that will give you the chance of launching extra combo attacks. And with the butterfly inscription, since you are just doing bunch of extra combo attacks on top of your basic attacks, and this making those 10% chances 20% more likely triggered with basic attacks, we are talking about such as Ring of Doom. Whenever the various troop launches any type of basic attack, it has a 10% chance to gain a 50% bonus. This is special talent, so extra 15% to damage dealt for 2 seconds. So this becomes 30% instead of 10% if you have that butterfly inscription, because this is triggered by a basic attack. Or Horn of Fury, whenever the various troop launches any type of basic attack, it has a 30% chance, so that 30% becomes 50%, adds the extra 20% on top of the initial percentage. Or let's take a look at the regular equipment. If you get it to, for example, if you get your weapon to tier 5, it gives you Fury Strike. Again, when you launch a basic attack, there is a 10% chance for a damage boost. That is going to become 30%. Let's take a look at the legs. Willy, whenever the troops launches a basic attack, again, it has a 10% chance to reduce the next skill damage it takes by 5%. As you can see, there are a ton of things in Rise of Kingdoms that triggers with basic attacks, and that inscription alone I think is going to be incredibly powerful. So how can we get ready for it? Obviously, we are going to, at some point in our Rise of Kingdoms journey, I don't plan to quit anytime soon because the game just keeps getting better and better. I'm going to use my Arthur as the primary. That is so clear. Not at this moment. You can't even classify him as broken at this moment because behind Huo, behind Nevsky, even with Joan, I think he is superb. But when the time comes, Arthur is going to be even more broken, and I want you to be ready for that. Number one, the first thing that we are going to do, of course, we need the butterfly inscription. So what we can do is, it's not easy to get it. Obviously, it's a special inscription and it's for instrument. It is not for flag, because if it was for flag, balanced, this one, invincible, you can get these from the armament shop. But no armament type is instrument. So the best thing that you can do to get the butterfly until, so I'm going to give you the timeline as well, until Lilith releases 2 more cavalry cycles. The reason why I'm saying 2 more is this. We're going to come back to armaments, how we're going to prepare for it. So what they did is they released Liu Che. He was amazing, incredible. He's still probably best or one of the best commanders in Rise of Kingdoms at this moment. And then at that moment when they released Liu Che, he didn't have a great pairing. Yes, you could have go with Gorgo Liu Che, but Gorgo, truly not an open field commander, she was a garrison commander. But then, after that, they released a really good open field commander with smite damage, fits perfectly to Liu Che, to pair with Liu Che. And that was William Wallace. But we, the players, had very different options about Wallace. So he wasn't like, okay, this commander is amazing, right? We all couldn't agree on one thing. Some said that Wallace is amazing, some says that he is trash, and mainly, he doesn't have a lot of march speed, he doesn't have AoE damage, and he doesn't have a significant debuff. That was the reason why people are calling him trash, and why people are so happy with him is because he fits perfectly to Liu Che. Even though as a standalone commander, he's not the best, still he is the best commander to pair with Liu Che if you're going for full smite damage synergy for open field. But what is going to happen is, that's of course my guess, my estimation, on the next infantry cycle, we are going to have Liu Che 2.0, meaning a smite damage infantry commander with AoE, or if not AoE, with some good debuffs. And I think the same thing is going to happen to Arthur. He's not in Liu Che's shoes because he also works so good with other cavalry if you're using him secondary, thanks to skill damage bonuses, but for combo damage, he is all by himself. New commander Subotai, we didn't expect him to be good in the open field, and he is not. So at this moment, the best thing you can do if you want to, try combo damages, I guess, Arthur with Philip or Arthur with Attila, but both options will be a little bit underwhelming. On the next cavalry cycle, I believe, I don't have any insider information, that's just what I think what's going to happen, is that they're going to release cavalry version of William Wallace. A decent field fighting combo damage commander, cavalry commander, but not incredible, not the best. And people will most likely invest on him. And after that one, then they're going to release Arthur Pendragon 2.0, which is going to be a combo damage cavalry commander with either AoE or some debuffs, or even maybe with both. So I think we do have 2 cavalry cycles in front of us if we want to prepare ourselves ready for this insane Arthur Pendragon primary route. And until that time comes, what we need to do is, as I said a few minutes ago, we need to get at least, we have to get this if we want to abuse that combo damage, and that is the butterfly inscription, which is an instrument. So the best thing that you can do, I'm assuming that most players have been collecting a lot of wedge formations, right? A lot of wedge armaments. And this means your wedge is the closest thing, the best thing that you have on your wish list. For example, I only have 1 out of 10, but that's the only 1 out of 10 that I have. The rest is 0 out of 10. I have not been playing on this account for a year, so I'm assuming that you are at maybe 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 6, whatever. What you are going to do is you are going to select this one and you will get the unstoppable inscription. So until that time comes, until we get the 2 cavalry cycles, Arthur 2.0, combo damage, AoE, debuff, whatever, you are going to get it to 10 out of 10 if you are not lucky. If you're lucky, you can get it anytime. But if you're not, worst case scenario, you're going to get it with this pity system and you will select this one. After you select your unstoppable, in the meantime, you are going to be saving these things. What are they called? Convergence stones. And with this thing, you are going to convert your unstoppable to delta formation, and you're going to switch it. You are going to go from unstoppable, because pay attention, it's an instrument as well. You are going to switch this to butterfly. And this is, I think, even though you don't have tier 5 gear, yes, we are going to get into that as well, because I showed you a bunch of stuff, right? Bunch of things that can be triggered with basic attack when it comes to equipment. Even though you don't get the tier 5s, you have to have the accessories. You have to have those 2 legendary accessories. And on top of that, if you can get some tier 5 iconics, which can be triggered with basic attacks. So as I said at the start of the video, it is a very long-term project, but I think that is what is going to happen eventually. Arthur is going to be a sick primary for people who do have iconic tier 5 equipment. On top of that, very stacked armament sets, especially with the butterfly inscription. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That is what I'm going to try to do for our long-term project for the cavalry march, and I advise you to do the same. I see you on the next video. If you want more Rise of Kingdoms videos, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.